Hey Vikings fans! What's going on, Skol Nation? If you thought the offseason was going to be quiet for the Minnesota Vikings, think again. The front office just made a series of aggressive salary cap moves that could completely reshape the team's future. And trust me, some of these decisions are going to surprise a lot of fans. But here's the real question everyone is asking right now. Are the Vikings simply fixing their cap situation? Or are they preparing for something much bigger in free agency? Because when you look at the numbers and the timing of these moves, it feels like Minnesota might be setting the stage for a major offseason push. Today we're diving deep into the latest Minnesota Vikings news, breaking down the restructures, the shocking roster decisions, and the very interesting situation involving TJ Hawkinson. And Vikings fans, some of these details could tell us exactly what the front office is planning next. So stay with me, because the story keeps getting more interesting the deeper we go. First, let's talk about the reality the Minnesota Vikings were facing. Heading into the weekend, the team had a serious salary cap problem. The Vikings needed to free up a significant amount of money just to operate normally and prepare for free agency. That meant tough decisions, creative financial moves, and possibly saying goodbye to some familiar names. And the front office wasted no time getting to work. Several major contracts were restructured to create immediate breathing room under the salary cap. These types of moves are extremely common in the NFL, especially for teams that want to stay competitive while keeping their core players intact. For the Minnesota Vikings, the priority was clear. Keep the stars, adjust the money, and open space to build the roster. And when you look at the players involved in these restructures, it's obvious the team is protecting its most important pieces. One of the biggest restructures involved superstar wide receiver Justin Jefferson. The Vikings adjusted his contract structure, creating roughly $17 million in cap savings. That's a massive number and shows just how valuable Jefferson is to the organization moving forward. This kind of restructure doesn't mean Jefferson loses money. Instead, the Vikings convert portions of his salary into bonuses, which spreads the cap hit across multiple seasons. It's a financial strategy teams use all the time to remain flexible while keeping elite talent. For Vikings fans, this is actually great news. It confirms the Minnesota Vikings are fully committed to building around their franchise playmaker. Jefferson remains the centerpiece of this offense, and the team clearly wants him wearing purple for a very long time. Another major move came with left tackle Christian Darrisaw. The Vikings restructured his deal as well, creating approximately $9.9 million in salary cap space. And if you follow the team closely, you know how important Darrisaw is to the offense. Protecting the quarterback is one of the most critical parts of building a winning team, and Darrisaw has quickly become one of the most reliable offensive tackles in the league. Keeping him secure while managing the salary cap was a smart move by the front office. These are the kinds of decisions that show long-term planning. The Minnesota Vikings aren't just thinking about this season. They're making sure the core of the team stays intact for years to come. The Vikings also made a move involving cornerback Byron Murphy Jr., restructuring his contract to free up around $11.2 million. That's another huge chunk of cap space created in a single move. Murphy has been one of the most consistent players in the Vikings secondary, and the defense desperately needs stability in the defensive backfield. By restructuring his deal, the team keeps an important starter while gaining valuable financial flexibility. Again, the strategy here is clear. Keep the key players, adjust the financial structure, and create room to improve the roster elsewhere. This is exactly how competitive teams operate in the modern NFL. Now, Vikings fans, this is where things start to get a little more dramatic. Along with restructures, reports also suggested the Vikings were preparing to move on from several veterans to free even more cap space. Names mentioned in reports included defensive tackles Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, along with running back Aaron Jones. These potential cuts would create significant savings if the Vikings decided to go in that direction. However, it's important to note that some of these reports may involve speculative scenarios or contract projections rather than finalized decisions. In the world of Minnesota Vikings news, early off-season reports can sometimes mix real moves with possible cap-saving options. One confirmed development that also helped the Vikings financially was the retirement of veteran center Ryan Kelly, which would reportedly create more than $8 million in cap savings. Losing a veteran leader is never easy, but financially it gives the team additional flexibility. Moments like this show how complicated roster management can be in the NFL. Every contract decision affects multiple positions and future planning across the entire roster. The Vikings front office has been working aggressively to balance talent, finances, and future opportunities all at once. And so far, they seem to be succeeding. But the most interesting development of the weekend involved tight end TJ Hawkinson. Earlier discussions suggested that a pay cut could be a realistic solution for both the player and the team. And then something surprising happened. Reports surfaced that the Minnesota Vikings and Hawkinson agreed to a restructured contract that would save the team about $5 million against the salary cap. At first glance, that might sound like a standard restructure, but the wording of the reports raised some interesting questions about what really happened behind the scenes. Normally, when the Vikings restructure a contract, it doesn't require player approval because the team simply converts salary into bonuses. The player still gets the same money, just paid in a different way. That's why the language used in this situation caught the attention of analysts. Reports specifically said that Hawkinson agreed to the restructure, which suggests something slightly different may have happened. Many insiders believe this wasn't a traditional restructure at all. It may actually have been a voluntary pay cut. If that's the case, it speaks volumes about Hawkinson's commitment to the Minnesota Vikings. Taking less money to help the team build a stronger roster shows leadership and belief in the organization's direction. From the team's perspective, it's the perfect outcome. The Vikings keep one of their most important offensive weapons while also gaining valuable salary cap flexibility heading into free agency. And from Hawkinson's side, the decision could also make sense financially. On the open market, teams may not have offered a significantly larger contract, especially considering his recent injury recovery timeline. So staying in Minnesota, remaining a major part of the offense, and still earning a strong salary could easily be the best situation for everyone involved. And here's the big picture, Vikings fans. After all these moves, the Minnesota Vikings could now be sitting around $30 million under the salary cap as free agency approaches. That's a massive change from the financial pressure the team faced just days ago. It also opens the door for potential signings, trades, or roster upgrades that could strengthen the team for the upcoming season. So the big question now is this: what are the Vikings planning to do with that cap space? Are they targeting defensive reinforcements, another offensive weapon, or maybe preparing for a blockbuster move no one saw coming? One thing is certain: this offseason is far from over, and Minnesota Vikings news could get even more exciting in the coming weeks. Now I want to hear from you, Skol Nation. Do you think the Vikings made the right moves with these restructures and possible pay cuts? And what position do you think the team should target next in free agency? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I read every single one. And if you love staying updated with the latest Minnesota Vikings news, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with another Vikings fan. Thanks for watching, Skol Nation. And let's see what the Minnesota Vikings do next. Purple circle, yellow circle, American football.